Picture this. It's a clear day high above the clouds. A state-of-the-art fighter jet, a machine worth over $100 million, is patrolling the skies. Its pilot is one of the best in the world, trained for every conceivable threat. But the threat that is coming is inconceivable. It's a weapon that travels so fast it arrives almost before it's launched. In a recent test, a hypersonic missile crossed hundreds of miles in just a few minutes, striking a target with pinpoint accuracy. There was no warning, no time to react. The target, much like our hypothetical fighter jet, was simply erased from existence. This isn't science fiction. This is the new, terrifying reality of modern warfare. A reality that is unfolding right now, today, on this very planet. This single event sent shockwaves through the global defense community, a quiet tremor that signaled a monumental shift in power. For decades, the fighter jet has been the king of the sky, a symbol of air superiority and military might. It could outrun, outmaneuver, and outgun anything thrown at it. But that era is now facing its twilight. The advent of hypersonic weapons represents not just an upgrade in missile technology, it represents a fundamental rewriting of the rules of engagement. It's a game changer of such epic proportions that generals and strategists are scrambling to figure out what comes next. So what are we actually talking about when we say the word hypersonic? It sounds like something straight out of a comic book, a term designed to sound cool and futuristic. But the reality is much more specific and, frankly, much more concerning. In simple terms, a hypersonic missile is a weapon that travels at speeds of Mach 5 or higher. That's 5 times the speed of sound. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 1 mile per second, or faster. This isn't just a little bit faster than what we're used to, it's a quantum leap in velocity. It's the difference between a propeller plane and a space shuttle. And it's this incredible speed that makes these weapons so revolutionary and so terrifying. But speed alone isn't the whole story. We've had fast things before. Ballistic missiles, for example, have been traveling at hypersonic speeds for decades as they re-enter the atmosphere from space. The key difference, and this is the part that should really get your attention, is maneuverability. A traditional ballistic missile follows a predictable, high-arching path, like a cannonball shot into the sky. You can track it, predict where it's going to land, and in theory, intercept it. A hypersonic missile, on the other hand, does not play by those rules. It flies within the atmosphere and can change direction mid-flight, making it nearly impossible to track, let alone shoot down. There are 2 main types of these new weapons, and it's worth knowing the difference. The first is the Hypersonic Glide Vehicle, or HGV. Let's really dig into this speed thing because it's hard to wrap your head around just how fast we're talking. The speed of sound is about 767 miles per hour. A typical subsonic cruise missile like the Tomahawk, that has been a staple of the United States military for years, travels at around 550 miles per hour. That's actually slower than a commercial airliner. But a hypersonic missile, traveling at Mach 5, is moving at over 3,800 miles per hour. At Mach 10, that's more than 7,600 miles per hour. We're talking about crossing the continental United States in about 30 minutes. So let's connect the dots. We have these incredibly fast, maneuverable missiles on one side, and on the other, we have the most advanced fighter jets in the world. Why is the jet in so much trouble? The answer lies in a simple concept: time. A fighter jet's defense systems, its radar, its warning receivers, its countermeasures, all need time to work. They need to detect a threat, identify it, process a solution, and then deploy a countermeasure, whether that's a decoy, a jamming signal, or a sharp evasive maneuver by the pilot. This entire sequence can take several seconds, which in traditional combat is usually enough. But against a hypersonic missile, seconds are an eternity you simply don't have. Let's put ourselves in the cockpit for a moment. Not in a hypothetical scenario, but in one grounded in the realities we're seeing today. Imagine you are a pilot flying an F-22 Raptor, arguably the most advanced air superiority fighter ever built. You are the apex predator of the skies. Your aircraft is cloaked in stealth, packed with cutting-edge radar and sensors. You are trained to dominate any engagement. But today, your mission is different. Intelligence reports that an enemy bomber, flying in international airspace hundreds of miles away, is armed with a new air-launched hypersonic missile. Your job is to patrol the line, to be the shield, but you know the shield is full of holes. The launch happens. It's a flash on a satellite sensor, data that takes precious seconds to be relayed to you. An icon appears on your display. It's not a plane, it's a weapon, and its velocity reading is off the charts. Mach 6. It's already covering a mile of sky every second. Your only hope is to try and intercept it. You have air-to-air missiles, incredible pieces of technology in their own right, but they were designed to shoot down other fighter jets, not hypervelocity weapons. You get a lock and fire. Your missile screams off the rail, accelerating to Mach 4. But it's a futile gesture. The hypersonic threat is not only faster, but it's also maneuvering. You've just taken your one shot and it missed. Now there are only seconds left. The warning tones in your cockpit are reaching a frantic crescendo. The missile is no longer a distant icon on a screen. It is a physical reality. A streak of incandescent plasma tearing through the sky toward you. There is no time for another shot. No time to eject. No time for a final thought. There is only the blinding flash of light and the sudden violent obliteration of steel and electronics. This revolutionary technology hasn't gone unnoticed. In fact, a new and intense global arms race is already well underway, and the finish line is hypersonic supremacy. This isn't a race with just one or two competitors. It's a crowded field, and the major players are pouring billions of dollars into research and development. At the forefront of this race are three main powers: Russia, China, and the United States. Russia has been particularly vocal about its progress, often making bold and public declarations about its capabilities. President Vladimir Putin has described Russia's hypersonic weapons as invincible, a clear message to the rest of the world. They have already claimed to have fielded weapons like the Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle, which they say can be fitted to intercontinental ballistic missiles, and the Kinzhal, an air-launched hypersonic missile that can be fired from fighter jets like the MiG-31K. They have even reported using the Kinzhal in the conflict in Ukraine, marking the first time such a weapon has been used in combat. This is no longer theoretical, it's battlefield reality. China, meanwhile, has been pursuing its hypersonic program with incredible speed and secrecy. The Pentagon has referred to China's progress as stunning. In 2021, news broke that China had tested a fractional orbital bombardment system armed with a hypersonic glide vehicle, a weapon that circled the globe before heading towards its target. We stand at a profound and unsettling crossroads in the history of aerial warfare. The fighter jet, that sleek and powerful symbol of national power, the knight of the modern age, is facing its dragon. And this dragon breathes a fire of hypersonic velocity. The development and proliferation of these unstoppable missiles are not just another step in the endless arms race, it is a paradigm shift. It is a moment that redefines the very concepts of offense, defense, and air superiority. The delicate balance that has been maintained for decades through a combination of stealth, speed, and electronic warfare is being shattered by the raw, brutal physics of Mach 5+ weaponry. The implications are staggering. For a nation's air force, it means that its most expensive and powerful assets are now perpetually at risk. Aircraft carriers, the floating fortresses that project power across the globe, can be targeted from 1,000 miles away by weapons that are nearly impossible to stop. Forward air bases, the critical launch pads for any air campaign, can be crippled in the opening moments of a conflict. The entire strategy of projecting air power, a cornerstone of Western military doctrine for over 70 years, is now being called into question. The sky is no longer a safe haven or a domain to be controlled. It is a transparent battlefield where there is nowhere to hide. The race to develop defenses, directed energy weapons, high-speed interceptors, a global network of space-based sensors is on. But it is a race against time, and the offense has a significant head start. For the foreseeable future, the advantage lies with the missile. This creates a deeply unstable and dangerous international environment. When one side believes it has an unstoppable weapon, the temptation to use it in a crisis can be overwhelming. The dogfight is dead. The age of the ace pilot of daring maneuvers and split-second victories against a visible foe is a relic of a bygone era. The future of air combat will not be decided by the skill of the pilot in the cockpit, but by the speed of the missile fired from 100 miles away. It will be a battle of algorithms and light-speed data links, an automated contest where humans are too slow to even participate. The sky has not just been altered, it has been fundamentally and irrevocably changed. A new silence has fallen over the battlefield, the silence that comes just before the unseen, unstoppable sonic boom.